Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of To the Power of N, where we are going to unleash the power of networking. And we are on season 2. Season 2 is to be talking about diverse leaders. And today we have with us Dr. Dilara Sayeed. Dilara and I met at an event in Chicago, and we have an instant connection. The work that she was doing was super impressive, and she's going to talk about that in a minute. But I was super impressed by how she was connecting with people, networking with people. And I was like standing over there. She comes and introduces herself. And I felt she's a powerhouse for networking. And that day on, I thought that whenever I do something, I'm going to connect with Dilara. And we are meeting after 6 years. And I'm so excited to have Dilara on the show. Dilara, welcome. I'm going to ask you the same 2 key questions that I ask of our guests. What are your tips and tricks for networking, and how has that helped you? Welcome.
Thank you, Nash. And when we met, the feeling was mutual. There's a couple of things that I think we all have to understand. One is, who is it for? And people often think it's for getting a job, for corporations, whether you work in business. And the key is networking and relationship building is for everyone. We use it throughout our lives. It's how we form friends. It's how we form soulmates and spouses. It's how we build relationships with our children and with our neighbors and with our colleagues, of course, right? So networking is for everyone. That's the first thing. The second thing is I want you to think about what you want it to be. Do you want to be a connector, or do you want to be a token? And often when people go to network or think about meeting people, they often will want something or asking for something in their lives, not of that person, but kind of seeking it, right? If you choose to see yourself and present yourself as a token, that's how people will see you. And a token is only as good as until it's used, right? A bus token, you use it and then it's worthless. A token to enter a event, you use it and then it's useless. But a connector is always useful. A connector is always sought after. So be the connector, meaning someone connects with you, but then you hear their story and you think, I'd love to connect you with this other person I know. You've just doubled your impact, tripled your impact, and you've actually been truly valuable, authentically valuable to someone. And so think about that and present as that, right? Your presence should be as that, not that you want something for yourself, but you want to make something better for everyone. And that's what a connector does. And then at the heart of networking is relationship building. And I think we can't forget that. So let's imagine that in action. Sounds good. Everyone says relationship building. You go to an event, you get a water or soda in your hands because you want to make sure your hands are kept busy and in one space. Then you meet someone and you're aiming for small talk. You're trying to share a little bit about yourself. You're aiming for a connection. And then what, right? And then what happens? Is that it? Is that what networking is? And if you don't need something from them, you move on. Remember what I talked about, a token? Or if you can connect them, you connect them? Not really. Everything about networking is what happens after the interaction. Follow up with a genuine interest that you had. Did you have some similar experience in your background or your field that resonated with you? I remember you and I spoke about something as trivial as my business card, but it impacted you. And then we talked as deeply as the work we do, which really impacted us, right? And here we are. It may be 6 years later, it may be 2 months later, but here we are connecting on it. So follow up. Do we have a similarity in a personality, our field, something we've done together? If you don't see an interaction or you don't see an intersection that you really want to pursue, then you have to ask yourself, it was great to meet this person. Do I invest in a real relationship? Do I connect them to someone else and let them take it from there? Or is this an acquaintance, a happen chance blessed meeting, but maybe nothing more? And that's okay too. You don't have to invest in every relationship, but these are questions you ask yourself, right? So number one, who networks? And everyone should be pointing at themselves and saying, I network. Number two, are you going to be a token or are you going to be a connector? which is continually valuable. And number 3, is this going to be a connection that becomes a relationship, a friendship? Is it going to be a connection, or is it going to be an acquaintance? And it was nice to meet you. Maybe we'll meet again. Goodbye. So those are the questions to ask when you're connected. At an event very recently, I reconnected with someone, and his name was Brandon Johnson, and he was running for mayor of Chicago. And we reconnected at an event, and he said, Dilara, I'm running for mayor. And he said, we'd love to get to know more about the work you're doing, the communities you serve, etc. And I said, sure, that sounds good. Here's my card. This is my cell phone. I'd love to hear more. And that was just an instance. And of course, you can imagine, large event, lots of people there, right? But he followed up, because I want to tell you how he did it, right? Like, not just how I would do it, but how he did it. He followed up and he said, I'd love to set up a time and talk a little bit more about the communities you serve. I want to learn about the people I want to be mayor for one day. And I thought, that's brilliant. He's coming to me as a learner. And I wanted to learn about him, to be honest, Nash. I wanted to know what was his vision for our city. Who was he, etc. We set up a meeting. We had an honest conversation. He listened. I showed him who we work with, people of all faiths, people of all races, people of all backgrounds. We had allies, as well as partners, as well as our own community. He went on. He's now the mayor of the city of Chicago, Mayor Brandon Johnson. And we had events, we had activities. He's the mayor. I'm running a nonprofit. I'm actually supposed to keep pushing him to move to certain policy shifts, etc. But are we people who respect each other? Yes. Are we people who have a relationship? Absolutely. Did it all start with networking? Yes.
That is a fantastic example. And I know, Dilara, you have that vibrant personality where people will reach out. No matter what you say, there is something about you that is striking. I am so glad to have you on the show, and what you shared was phenomenal. I have thought about token, but I've never thought about token in perspective of networking. So that was amazing. Whether you want to be a token or whether you want to be connector, it was a fantastic conversation. Thank you, Dilara. Thank you, Dr. Dilara Sayeed, for being on the show, sharing your insight and making us another inch or a feet, I would say, smarter and wise with your knowledge sharing. Thank you so much again for being on the show. And I'm sure our guest had also enjoyed a lot in terms of the learning that they got from the show. Please make sure that you like and subscribe so that a lot of people can unleash the power of networking. Thank you again, Dr. Dilara Sayeed, for being on the show.
Thank you, Nash, for having me.